Hello everybody, welcome to Sis Votomi. Thank you so much for joining me. If it's your first time here, you are absolutely welcome. Please do stay as we journey through life together, ask questions, speak life into existence, one topic at a time. So, this week. It's bittersweet in the sense that this is the last episode of the I Cannot Be Broken series, but I am so excited at the same time for what is to come. Before I get ahead of myself, thank you so much to Sima for sharing your journey with us, and I pray that it's one that continues to speak to you. If you haven't watched last week's video, go back and hear what Sima has to say, because I trust that it will be a blessing into your life. You know that person that is not afraid to say anything, is not afraid to have any conversation, is not afraid to ask any question. That's this lady that's coming up. But above that, she is just an incredible lady and is the founder of Indigenously, where it's basically a clothing line that inspires women like you and I to continue, being our true African selves, which I think is so amazing. But today she puts on a different hat and she talks about something that very few women are open to talking about. Sis Xoli, thank you for being that person, because you honestly inspire me to do the same, to live out the truth and to not be afraid to ask certain questions, to not be afraid to have certain conversations as well. So with that being said, please do like this video. Let's have a conversation in the comment section. Share it with somebody who might need it. And of course, importantly, please do subscribe. While you're at it, hit the notification bell and you will not miss a thing. Without further ado, speak with me. Let's go.
My name is Xoli and I am 42. Thank you for an opportunity to share a bit of my journey with early menopause. Around about the age of 33, my period started becoming irregular. But since I was also on a journey of celibacy, I did not pay attention to those changes since there was no possibility of a pregnancy scare. Fast track to when I started getting hot flashes. Those things are terrible. I became the happiest when I was at gym because I could sweat to my heart's content and nobody would look at me in any strange or funny ways. I became that woman that was always carrying a fan in her bag. I became that woman that was wearing short sleeve top or sleeveless tops in winter while everybody else was freezing cold. I was fighting personal summers. Brain fogs. I started becoming forgetful. The big, the small, and everything in between. It was just a mission. I'll be driving to work, a trip that I had taken over a long period of time, for years even. I will suddenly forget which turn off to take. It became such a frustrating exercise because I'll be trying to focus on staying on the road, not causing traffic, not causing accident, yet be trying to remember which lane to stick to. Work, it was disaster in a way. A passenger will ask for coffee. As I'll be walking into the galley, I'll be asking myself whether they ask for coffee or tea. Working as a flight attendant, there's always that expectation that we must always be on the ball, always be jacked up. I started preferring working in the galley, which is the aircraft's kitchen, where at least I'd have minimal interactions with passengers. Even socially, I started cutting myself off because I hated having to have attention on me. I started becoming a wallflower. I'd have so much to say, but I started choosing to keep quiet because the moment eyes would be on me, my mind will just go onto this certain brain freeze. I always liken it to when a computer have that loading icon where everything just gets suspended. That affected my self-esteem in a big way. As I continued to cut myself off socially, I preferred staying at home in my own space with my own company. I lost interest in things that I used to enjoy, things like reading, things like listening to music. The thought of getting out of bed to either take a bath, to brush my teeth, to make the bed, open the curtains, get sunlight in, or have lights on at night were just too much of a mission. Fast track to getting night sweats. As the name says, night sweats, you sweat at night in your sleep, to the point that you get woken up drenched in sweat, your pajamas, even sometimes your bed linen. The sleep disturbances in turn lead to fatigue, because I would wake up in the morning feeling so tired, feeling so run down, to the point that I started getting moody, irritable. I was a basket of emotions. I felt so fragile. I was always ready to cry. I started presenting two personalities. I would have the happy, normal, chirpy Xoli, and then I had the Xoli that was always waiting for the right opportunity, whether it would be getting into the car or getting home, where I could just cry. I was feeling like I was carrying so much. I love praise and worship at church. I'm the type that will allow myself to cry to my heart's content as to how the Spirit will be moving me. But during this time, there was a change. I remember this other worship first. I was crying, but I knew that crying had nothing to do with being moved by the Holy Spirit. I was just looking for a certain release. I was hoping that if I cried out, whatever that I was feeling, since it didn't have a name at the time, it would get better. So I remember just sitting there crying, hoping that at least I'll be able to breathe. In hindsight, I was going through depression. I always say that God intervened at the right time, because I had started entertaining thoughts of what is the point of being here. And the conversations was not in a positive light. I started asking myself, if we're here and we're gonna die at some point, why shouldn't I die now? Why prolong it? Why postpone it? Why go through everything that I'm going through here if I'm gonna die? I started envisioning eternal peace. I started thinking of if I'm gone, who's gonna miss me? And it's like, you gone, the world is still gonna continue, so you can be gone, it's gonna be okay. I'll be driving and imagine letting go of the steering wheel and just crashing and it ending. I'll be taking a bath, and as I get out, imagine if I was to lose my footing, slip and hit my head on the bath, I'll be gone. As I say, those thoughts are not healthy and were not healthy, and God gave me that window of opportunity to recognize those thoughts for what it was, that I was actually having suicidal thoughts. I started Googling, putting some of the symptoms that I had to backtrack to remember. And they pointed to the fact that I might be going through early menopause. I went to see the doctor, who in turn referred me to a gynae. We had tests done, and my LSH test came back 3 times more than the normal level. And the gynae suggested that it would be best that I go on to hormone replacement, so that we could try to reverse as much as we could. So much was reversed, yet there were still other things that presented themselves. Like one consultation, he asked me about whether I wanted to have children. As much as I knew that I didn't want to have children, but having that conversation with him brought to light that if I was to have children, my only option was through either using friends or my sister's eggs, because my reproductive system had shut down. I remember how I felt like the wind had been knocked out in me. I remember the conversations that I had with God that day when I got into the car, thinking like, how could you do this one thing to me? As much as I don't want children, but having that right, privilege and freedom taken away, it does something to you. I made peace though with that, even though I think it's the one thing that really brought the reality of early menopause to me. I had to change so much around my lifestyle, from how I eat, so my diet, taking care of the mind, being intentional to what I expose myself to, incorporating certain things like hiking, which is like ecotherapy. I had to focus on my spirituality also, because there was a bit of a disconnect during that time. I'm in a better place. I always say that early menopause was a rebirth in a way. It has made me intentional. The sleepless nights helped birth my clothing company. It helped birth a movement which is called Mask Off, where we tackle topics which society still deems as taboo. I give love more. I am more present. I live my life unapologetically. I live my truth. So, in hindsight, early menopause has been a blessing because it helped me to give the best out of myself. It's a journey. I've stopped taking hormone replacement treatment, so some of the symptoms have returned. But now that I know what I'm dealing with, I am in a better place to coexist with my condition. My name is Xoli, and I cannot be broken.